record on this computer. So we are recording now. Um, and welcome to Tools for Grounding and Centering in Our Heart. So there's a few tools that I've been using lately, and believe me, the holidays have really tested me and some craziness that's been going on with my technology. So I've actually been able to put this to really good use. I can promise you that these tools kind of work. Yeah, well, they do work if you use them. That's the problem, is remembering to use them and choosing to use them. But I welcome you. If you're here, it means that, or you're watching the replay, it means that you are interested in really finding more peace and being able to bring yourself back down to center, which I think is one of the most essential skills that we are not taught in school, or at least in my age, I wasn't taught that in school. And how to really, respond to our emotional triggers and our emotional responses, especially around holiday time, which, family can often bring up a lot of our emotional responses, let's say. So those emotional responses can really bring us out of who we truly want to be and how we truly want to show up. I don't know if this has ever happened to anyone else, where they just get in a situation and they, like a cat, like I've done this, where I feel very defensive all of a sudden, or that role that we step back into. So I feel like a normal person in the world, and then I go home and all of a sudden I fall right back into that role of being the eldest daughter and the most responsible and carrying burdens, or whatever it is that, stories that we tell ourselves. We can pop right back into those roles, even though we're like, I've outgrown this, I don't act this way in my life. But when we go home, it does. So these are tools that can help us bring us back to who we truly are, not revert back to those childish ways or younger, older sibling, whatever it is that we have struggles with when we go home. But it's also for our everyday life. Things go hectic every day, and depending on how we react to it can depend on how much worse it can get or how much better. So we just want to kind of guide that towards the better. So if you have questions during this, if you're listening live, feel free to pop them in the chat and I will address them. I will also address them at the end of the broadcast if you have any others, but feel free to put them in the chat so that we can make sure we don't forget them. Excuse me. I had breakfast with my son this morning and he was sick, and now I'm afraid I'm gonna just by osmosis grab it off of him. So how we're going to start is we're going to do this, a grounding and opening. Now I do this for all of my workshops every week, whether I do a 6-week class or whatever. We always start off with some kind of grounding, and that's basically to bring us back into our heart space so that we can kind of let go of all of the other worldly garbage that's going on in our, not necessarily garbage, but stuff that's going on in our lives, so that we can just kind of step out of that worldly view and back into our spirit. So the way that I start off is with just a little grounding exercise. So just get yourself comfortable. We're going to find a way to ground and soften into our bodies. So we're going to take a deep breath. And then I invite you to close your eyes, or you can just soften them if that feels better, by looking at an object, maybe across the room, very softly gazing at it. I choose to close my eyes usually. I'm going to be looking at notes, so I'm not going to do that right now, but I invite you to do whatever is most comfortable for you. And we're going to put our hands on our heart, and we're going to breathe. Breathe into your heart space and feel your heart space expand with breath. And then let out the breath. And then we're going to breathe in again. Feel our hearts expanding. Going to allow that expansion to soften our body like an aura of warm energy. And then breathe one more time into your heart. Fill it all the way up and imagine it expanding beyond you. And then let it go. And then come back to your regular breathing and feel your body and allow it to soften just a little or a lot. Notice your muscles and just relax them. Let them fall. We're breathing into our heart space, and with every breath, our heart space expands. Now we're going to ask our heart for some answers. I'm going to ask you 3 questions, and you're going to allow your heart to answer without judgment. Just allow it, whatever comes up. So ask your heart, what do I need to let go of right now to be present? What do I need to let go of right now to be present? And just notice what comes up, and then let it go. And then ask your heart, how do I really want to feel right now? How do I really want to feel right now? And then lastly, ask your heart, what can I do to feel that way? What can I do to feel how I really want to feel right now? And take a big breath and gently come back to this space and back to my voice and this connection. And come back to the room and open your eyes when you're ready. And if you're live, you can feel free to share what happened or what came up for you in the chat. If anything surprised you, the chat will not be shared with the recording, so it will only be with the people who are here live. So you don't have to worry about confidentiality outside of that. I'd love to hear it if you had anything. Awesome. And then what I really want to teach you today that I might be able to do in less than 20 minutes, so we'll see if I can even make this shorter than 45. I know it's a busy holiday time of year, but there's this heart-centering practice that Danielle Laporte has put out there that I think is fantastic. And last weekend I had a real struggle of a time getting myself together for a workshop, and it was such a struggle. And then I got there and I was all proud of myself because I was like 10 minutes earlier than I thought I was going to be there at the last minute. And then I realized I forgot the workbooks at home. So I had to go home and so I did this heart centering practice about 3 times that day. And it truly helped me kind of shift my attitude and my mood so that I could, put on a really good workshop. And, it really turned around what my day could have looked like from there. Um, so the heart centering practice is about mindfulness and heartfulness. It is a spiritual practice. Um, as some people might look at it as a form of prayer, but it's really like a 7-step process in order to get us all the steps, right? All the steps that we need in order to be really truly grounded. So, gratitude is a big one that people, always say, oh, you have to be grateful, you have to be grateful. And in my honesty, gratitude isn't good unless one, it's sincere, and two, it comes with some other things, because just being grateful, I don't think is always enough. So, the heart centering practice kind of puts all of this in there. So, there are some things to know before we do the heart centering practice. We're going to talk about core desired feelings. And if you haven't done the desire map process before, you may be like, what is a core desired feeling? And a core desired feeling is how you want to feel most of the time. Like most of your waking days, you want to feel whatever. My core desired feelings are connection, compassion, magic, and flow. So those are the things, that's the force that drives my life. That's the guiding navigation system that I have. So when I make choices for connection, compassion, magic, and flow. Now there's a process to getting to it. It's a workshop that I teach. However, you can use this heart centering practice without actually going through the workshop. I think it's more powerful with the workshop, but either way, if you know how you want to feel, this will work. So you can use one of two things for this heart centering practice. One, your a core desired feeling. So we try to pull one feeling. It's really powerful to try to pull just one feeling into your heart, and really expand it rather than all, like I don't practice all of my core desired feelings at one time in the heart centering practice. There's usually one or maybe two that I know that I'm needing. Um, so there's core desired feelings, and then there's what I call momentary desired feelings. So I am going to do a hard thing. So I might not want to be courageous most of my life, but today is the day that I need courage. So that's a momentary kind of desired feeling. So today I'm going to need courage, or um, maybe tomorrow I need focus, or, so those might be ones that we just need right now. And maybe when we're visiting our family, this is something that, maybe it's not our core desired feelings that we're looking for. We're just looking to be peaceful, or, whatever it is that we need to manage with our family and be okay being in our family's light. So you can choose either. I suggest that if there was a feeling that came up in the grounding that we just did, perhaps you choose one of those feelings that came up. How do you really need to feel right now? What did your heart say? And I would say choose one of those feelings if that's what you're needing right now. And I just wanted to give you a little backup. So in case we say core desired feeling or feeling later in this practice, I want you to be prepared for that. So we're going to talk about God. Know that this fits for any religious practice, belief system, universe, divine feminine, divine masculine, uh, angel guides, archangels, whatever it is that you use as your spiritual guides, spiritual connection. Bring that energy into this practice, and there'll be a little talk about it. But I just wanted you to know it's universal. If I say God and that doesn't fit for you, imagine I'm saying whatever it is that does fit for you. It works for any of them. One more thing I want to say about gratitude. There is a gratitude section, and I love a gratitude practice. I love an authentic gratitude practice. I once went through a thing where it was like every day you had to write a list of 25 things that you're really grateful for. Well, I can do that. I mean, I'm grateful for a lot. However, I believe that it's so much more powerful when we really connect to what we're grateful for. So it's not just what we're grateful for, but why are we grateful for it? So, yeah, I'm grateful for my house. Well, I'm grateful for my house because it keeps me protected from the elements and I feel cozy and safe. and secure there. Those cozy, safe and secure, those are the feelings that are going to connect me. And if you haven't noticed, this is a lot about feeling because, well, the heart's a lot about feeling. And when we get to the feeling, that's where the core of our struggles are. That's where we can solve them. That's where we can heal them. That's where we can analyze them. Um, Feeling is really the core of who we are. And we connect with it much more than we do with the stories, even though we tell those stories to ourselves, whatever stories we tell about the world to ourselves or ourselves about ourselves. Um, those are just stories. The heart really is what we connect to. So when we go through gratitude, make sure that you're coming up with just a few. I mean, I would rather you have one thing that you're truly feel connected to and grateful for than any type of list of 25 that, are like, yeah, sure, I'm grateful for my cat, my dog, my husband, and just to list them off, that's not connecting to gratitude. So we want to make sure that we really connect with it. So before we go through it, I do want to just overview what the steps are, so you can be a little bit more prepared. For me, my brain helps me to become more centered if I know what's coming. So the first step is to breathe, and we've done that. I'm going to talk a little bit about it. We're going to welcome in our spiritual guide or spiritual connection. And then we're going to connect with how we're feeling. We're going to offer ourselves compassion. And mind you, after all of this, I will send you a worksheet with this replay, so that you'll have all these steps and you don't have to worry about waiting for me for them all. But compassion is the next one. So it's not just compassion, like if we're centering ourselves to be going into our family's home, it's not compassion just for them, but it's really truly compassion for ourselves. So use whatever works for you. I matter, I'm valued, I'm deeply loved, I deeply love myself, I am safe. All of those things work, and we'll go through some more when we go through the exercise. And then after the compassion, that's when the gratitude comes. So now that I've been really kind to myself, it's a lot easier to be grateful and connect with things that I'm grateful for. And then after gratitude, we're going to talk about presence, and we're going to notice what's going on in our body. And then we're going to breathe that desired feeling into our heart, whether that's our core desired feeling or our momentary desired feeling. We're going to breathe that into our heart with a little visualization. And then we're going to choose a life-affirming thought and action, something that we can think and do as we're moving forward to really feel the way that we want to feel. And that's basically it. That's how quick this goes. So this could be a practice that takes you 30 seconds. That's how I did it last week when I was, rushed and having a crazy, crazy day. I just did it in the car while I was driving. Like, I imagined all the things. I wasn't unsafe. I was, close, but I thought through all the steps as I was driving just to calm myself down. So here we go. Let's start it out. So take a breath, and I invite you to close your eyes if that feels right for you. Again, you can also just gaze at some object across the room from you. Just soften your gaze so that you're not staring, you're more internal. And if you feel inclined, you can put your hands back on your heart. Danielle always suggests the left under the right. The left is the love, the right is the protection. And then inhale from your heart, expand that space, and greet your spiritual connection. Hello, God. And then when you've greeted them, him, her, them, then just repeat to yourself, I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. You can do this as long as you like. And we're going to move on. And then we're going to move on to what we're observing, what we're feeling in this moment. Instead of I'm happy or I'm sad, I'm going to say I have sadness. I'm experiencing happiness. What are you feeling or experiencing right now? There may be a cloud of feelings that come up, or maybe just one or two, and either way, that's perfectly okay. It's just about awareness and what's going on in your emotional body right now. If after you've noticed those feelings, no judgment, just noticing, we're going to move into compassion for ourselves. What is it that your heart needs to hear about you? Some suggestions might be, I matter. I'm of value. I am deeply loved. I'm safely held. I am beloved. I'm incredibly resilient and wise. Take a moment to have compassion for yourself. And breathe. Now we're going to think of something that we're grateful for and really bask in the feeling of appreciation. You can make a gratitude statement to yourself. I give thanks for, and again, if there's wise feelings behind the gratitude that you can connect to, that really puts you in the sensation of gratitude. And we're going to move into presence. So just for now, be still and notice the life force that's happening inside you. You can do a scan of your entire body, see if there's energy moving. And then come back to your heart center. And just be aware of the energy that's happening in your heart. That radiant pulse. And keep breathing through your heart. Now we're going to bring in one of those desired feelings. So what is it that you really want to bring into your heart right now? Into your heart's awareness. Bring in that feeling and sense it unfolding in your heart. With each breath, it expands. Visualize luminous colors of light pink, milky white, and translucent gold. Imagine that pink, white, and gold swirling with that feeling in your heart, circulating it through the heart. Feel how it fills up your heart. Notice what it feels like to allow this desired feeling into your heart and expand. And then ask that feeling if it has an image or some guidance to give you. And continue breathing through your heart center. And then choose a life-affirming thought and action. So decide on one encouraging thought or one action that reflects the desired feeling. And breathe that direction into your heart. Is there anything that your heart wants you to think or do right now for you to feel the way that you want to feel? And give thanks to God, universe, your heart, for the guidance. And you can take a few breaths and then open your eyes. Well, fantastic. That's the basic outline of this heart centering practice. And again, it took me probably about 10 minutes to go through it with you. However, it can easily be done in 30 seconds, or you can make a whole ritual of it, a whole journaling experience of it, which is how I can sometimes really work through some of my triggers with other people, is really, grounding myself before I respond back to them. So it's one of the things I'm working on. So I hope that helps you. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out and ask me. So I'm going to do just a little wrap up, because I did promise this to be under 45 minutes and we're at 30. So I want to keep my commitments. But I did want to read you this one short poem by, I don't know if it's a poem or a writing, by Daniel Laporte. It's called You Are More. You are more than your name. You are more than your frame, more than your DNA. You are more plenty than all you have given birth to, and all those big, big wishes. You are even bigger. Imagine that. Imagine anything, and you are more. You are gone, 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 beyond the beyond of what started this all. I pray you desire temples of peace and benevolent tsunamis of love, and that you realize your size in relation to this universal declaration. I desire. You are the core and the more ever expanding desire. Oops, my page just flipped, sorry. Okay, so when there's a new opportunity to step aside in the process, what step is most useful to connect with? That's a great question. So when in the midst of family dynamic and no opportunity to step aside, do this process, what step is most useful to connect with? I think that's going to depend on you. However, if you want my personal opinion, what I would use for myself is often It depends. So if I can breathe a core desired feeling into my heart, sometimes that is the easiest thing for me in the moment because I can imagine the pinks and the whites and the golds, and I can imagine them going through. So that visual part of that is is a little easier for me. So I can imagine that, and usually my word is like flow or connection, one of my core desired feelings. And so because I've practiced it before, I can come back to that feeling and be like, right, I want to be in the flow. I'm not this person. I'm not going to allow what they have to say, impact me, because we have to remember that what other people say is about them, right? And I know you know that, but so if I need a visual really quick, which is usually what happens with my family, right? Like I need that visual, that part will help me. So if there's a feeling that you want to, if you know that you're going to your family's house and you're like, oh God, here we go, come up with those 2 or 3 feelings. I would really highly suggest that you do that with this heart centering practice a few times before you go there, because then you'll have already breathed that feeling in, so you'll remember what it feels like. It's easier to come back to if we have practiced it a few times first. The other one is compassion. I mean, this one is like one that I think so often a lot of prayer practices and other types of practices, ritual practices, forget, is that compassion part. How can we be most compassionate to ourselves? Because often that's all we need. I mean, in the moment, we can be like, hey, your mother, that's just her being her. You can let go of that. That's not yours, because you are brilliant and wise and, radiant and whatever it is that you want to be instead, however it is that you want to show up. Um, so it really depends on what connects for you. But I would suggest that, if you like, let's say that you're going Christmas Eve, and the next day or two, maybe just practice through this a few times so that you can really connect to those feelings. And then, when that snarky comment comes or that little jab comes, you can be like, oh, flow and magic. Remember flow and magic? Right. This is just temporary and this is flow and magic. So it really depends on you. But that's what I would suggest, is starting with those 2, the desired feeling and then going to compassion. And then, if you're a warrior, what can I do or what can I think right now might be useful to you too. But there is a sentence that will come with the worksheet that will keep all these steps in mind. So, because you really can run through them in like 20 seconds if you really choose to. And the sentence is, with breathing, feeling, and compassion, I am presence. With gratitude, I choose my core desired feelings in thought and action. So that has all of the steps in those 2 sentences. And again, you'll get this whole worksheet on it that will list out all the steps. But I've learned to do this like really quite quickly. You could definitely do it in the time that you go to the bathroom. So even if you can't step away, sometimes just, or go away, sometimes just stepping into the restroom for a moment can help me. So I hope that helps. Okay. And then as far as core desired feelings, a lot of people know me from circles, where we're like, oh no, there's 5 feelings: mad, sad, glad, shame, and fear. Obviously, we're going beyond those core feelings. We're going into core desired feelings are much different. Core desired feeling is something that you connect with. It could be Shazam, if that's a word that brings you a specific feeling that you truly want to feel, like a Shazam, like, and that's what you connect with, that's what you can use. Yeah, I see that. Thanks for that comment. But yeah, so it's whatever feeling that you can connect with. And some other people's that I've really, really loved is kind of a big deal is one of them. I love this one that's like, I'm kind of a big deal, because it's like a way for her to pump herself up and take herself lightly at the same time. I just had somebody go through my course that said thirsty was their word, which, for a lot of us, we'd be like, we don't want to be thirsty or hungry. But, you know, for her, it's like that thirsty, that curiosity for life and like wanting to eat it all up, basically. Easy like Sunday morning, superpowers, vibrant, sexy, effective, shiny, unencumbered, fulfilled, clear, strong, purposeful, excited, pumped, turned on, magical, energy, alive, overflowing with abundance. So these are all feeling types. So in core desired feelings, we can go way beyond even the feelings. We can just choose the words that really kind of inspire us. And the more that they inspire us, obviously, the more we connect to them, the easier it is that bring them into our heart when we're doing that heart centering practice. So that's what the Desire Map workshop is about. We look at all 5 areas of your life, which is your livelihood and your lifestyle, your creativity and education, your body and wellness, your relationships and society, and then your essence and spirituality. And we look at all 5 of those areas, what's working, what's not, what we're grateful for, what we really want to feel in those areas. And I'm talking like we're not even dealing with the local problems, right? Because often that's how we want to solve things. Like we want to, what do you truly want means beyond your current problems or your current situation. If you woke up tomorrow with amnesia, but were told to live however you want to feel, how how do you want to feel? That's really where we want to get. And then we can readjust all the other struggles that we have in our life to go in alignment with what we truly want, not what we're settling for because it's easy and available, but what we truly, truly want. And that's what the Desire Map course is about, in case you're interested. We do have a 3-day one this weekend. I'm going to pop some links in the chat, but you'll also get these tomorrow or with the replay on the replay page, all the links to the events that I have coming up. Well, not all of them, but some of them, the 3 different new ones that I have coming up. So feel free to reach out and attend one of those. But I use Core Desired Feelings a lot because over 10 years of personal growth, coaching, and work, I have found that this is the tool that makes everything else easier, to the point that any client that comes to me has to go through this program before I will start private coaching with them. I'll do private coaching Desire Map with them if that's what they choose. And they have to come up with core desired feelings before I can coach them, because once they do, the rest of it is super easy. Once we know what we truly, truly want, the rest of it is really super easy. And that is the whole workshop in 39 minutes. That's right. I didn't take 45. I feel very, very special about that. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out and email me. I'm sure it's below if you're watching the replay. And for anybody who's live, I am going to stop the recording and then I can ask questions. So thank y'all. Keep in touch.